I love sauropods. So you can bet I was ecstatic and jumping up and down my chair when I saw that Dreadnoughtus had won the creature vote for extinction in Ark Ascended way back in September of 2023. Finally, I thought a good sauropod was coming to Ark, but now it's December of 2024 and maybe January of 2025 by the time I upload this video. But anyway, does the Dreadnoughtus live up to its Titan Slayer name, or will it just be another boring and useless sauropod? Spawn locations. Before I can judge the Dreadnoughtus, I gotta find one. They spawn in the more deserty parts of the wasteland and are pretty much scattered all over the place. I mean, they're not that hard to find, especially since they're really big. These guys love elements, so you're gonna need it if you want to tame one of them, and quite a bit of it. How you tame these guys is by leading them towards an element vein they can eat of. To lead these guys to an element vein, you first gotta feed them in a piece of element. Every piece of element lasts for 1 minute before the Dreadnought stops spawning you, and you need to refeed it. Honestly though, this process was going to be a nightmare to do because of the terrain of extinction and the Dreadnoughts' size. But I was surprised how well my first time went, because it wasn't that bad at all. But I have only done it once, so maybe I'm wrong. Before you start leading a Dreadnoughtus to a vein, I recommend locating the nearest one before you actually start taming. Okay, so once you get a Dreadnoughtus to an element vein, you gotta protect the Dreadnoughtus for a couple rounds from corrupted creatures who will spawn at whatever level your Dreadnoughtus is. So at level 150 Dreadnoughtus will spawn level 150 corrupted creatures. After each round, your Dreadnoughtus will gain a taming percentage, and from there you just rinse and repeat till you've tamed your very own Dreadnoughtus. It's important to note that the difficulty level of the element vein affects the tame, as alpha veins give the most levels while beta and gamma levels give less. So you really want to find an apex vein for max levels for your Dreadnoughtus. Attacks. A tamed Dreadnoughtus is certainly a good ally to have in your tribe thanks to their immense health and strength. They have two primary ways of attacking. First is their next slap attack with a lot of range that deals a ton of damage. Second is his tail swipe that hits everything from behind it. What's its intended purpose? Advertised as a Titan Slayer of Ark, does the Fear Nothing Lizard live up to its name? Well, yes. The Dreadnoughtus might be one of the most powerful tames in the game, as you can literally 1v1 both the Forest and Ice Titan, and even the Gamma King Titan. As I was going to try 5 Dreadnoughts versus the Gamma King Titan, but for some reason my Dreadnoughts weren't hitting the Gamma King Titan, so it turned to a 1v1, and I surprisingly won that 1v1, and with only one fully imprinted and highly leveled Dreadnoughtus, I was able to take down the Gamma King Titan. So yeah, these guys definitely live up to their names of Titan Slayers. Abilities. The Dreadnoughtus has several abilities. First is their Cannon Acid Spit attack. To use this attack, you gotta put cannonballs in the Dreadnoughtus' inventory and then aim it at fire whatever you want. This attack deals a couple of thousand damage to creatures and structures, but it's weaker than your primary neck slap attack or your tail swipe attack. The Dreadnoughtus also gets a passive buff around larger creatures, which increases its strength and durability, with this buff changing around certain large creatures. For example, a Rex gives 5% increased damage and resistance, a Giga gives 45% increase, and a Titan gives 50% increase. It's important to note that this percentage does not stack, so if you're on a Giga and a Titan, you're not going to have a 95% increase, you'll just have the 50% increase from the Titan. It's also equipped with a platform saddle for players to build on. However, I recommend not, because for some reason in ASA, damage taken by structures on platform saddles will transfer to your creature. Meaning, if you're fighting a Titan with a Dreadnoughtus with structures on it, it's about to get cooked. The most unique and interesting ability of the Dreadnoughtus is its Godzilla-like atomic breath, which weakens corrupted creatures and disables tech, and can deal damage to smaller creatures, but doesn't seem to work on Titans for some reason. To get the best use of this blast, you gotta fill your Disdain to 20, with lower Disdain levels doing less damage. Disdain is gained for every hit you take. Also, I know this isn't really an ability, but I really want to mention it. Despite the size and strength of the Dreadnoughtus, they can be cryopotted and are breedable, making them even better.
Also, I didn't realize this until I was done recording, but apparently the Dreadnoughtus can also perform a sidestep to left and right very slowly, so yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there.
Can it fight bosses? Yes, the Dreadnoughtus, as stated before, is probably one of the best, if not the best world boss creature in the game as of right now, as they can literally 1v1 the Forest, Ice, and Gamma King Titan, dealing upwards of 45,000 and 60,000 damage to the King Titan. And a herd of them can probably defeat the Beta and Alpha King Titan with a few losses. I'm also interested when Fjord comes out to see how the Dreadnoughtus fares up against those world bosses, but we'll just have to wait and see for a while. What to level up? For me personally, I put very few points in health, as they already got over 100k if you take a high level one. So I say put like 4 to 5 points in health and everything else in a melee to make your Dreadnoughtuses an absolute killing machine. Strengths and weaknesses. For strengths, they're really tanky and strong, so you don't really have to worry about them dying in battle, and they have a very unique platform saddle that can be used for PvE or PvP. They're also breedable and can be cryopotted, unlike the Titanosaur and Titans. For weaknesses, they move pretty slow compared to other creatures, but decently fast compared to other sauropods. But their attack speed might be one of the slowest in the game, making it very easy to dodge or miss moving targets. And they're also really big creatures for other enemy players to target at. And the saddle's so high up, getting down will almost always damage your character or straight up kill you. Other stuff you can do with the Dreadnoughtus is gather tons and tons of berries. You can easily get hundreds and hundreds of berries with the Dreadnoughtus with a single neck slap and tail swipe. Also, since they do have a platform saddle on their back, and a pretty unique one too, you can build a really unique looking mobile base for PvE or single player, and you can build a PvP based on their platform title. So yeah, likes and dislikes. I like that we finally have a good and viable sword part in the game that can go toe to toe with Gigas and bosses. I really like the design of the Dreadnoughtus, I think it's really cool, and its platform title looks cool too. But what I really like and was worried about the Dreadnoughtus when it was first announced was, could it be cryopotted? Creatures of similar size and strength like the Titanosaur and Titans aren't able to be cryopotted, meaning you have to walk them everywhere you go. But luckily enough for the Dreadnoughtus, they are able to be cryopotted, making them very good and viable. They're also breedable, which is a relief, so I don't have to go out and tame a new one to make a herd. What I don't like is the attacks, especially the neck slap. It being really slow isn't what bothers me. What bothers me is that it doesn't look or feel powerful, and really isn't fun to use. And at the end of the day, it is a video game, and the main goal should be to have fun. I think it doesn't have some sort of stomp attack, mainly because of the Brachy coming to Ark at some point in the future. And Wildcard not wanting to make the Dreadnoughtus look or attack too similarly to the Brachy, gave it a neck slap attack so it wouldn't just stomp like the Brachy stomp. But in doing this, Wildcard accidentally made the Dreadnoughtus' primary attack look very boring, soft, and just not fun to use at all. In the end, I really like the Dreadnoughtus. I couldn't wait for it to come to Ark, and now that it's become one of my favorite creatures. It's nice to have an actual good large sword part in the game. My only gripe with it being the primary attack of the neck slap, because honestly it's just a boring animation to use. But overall, the Dreadnoughtus is a really cool creature, and certainly is the Titan Slayer we hope for. And I'm glad it joined the world of the Ark. But with that being said, that wraps up the video. Do you like the Dreadnoughtus? Do you not? Tell me why or not in the comments. And with that being said, have a nice day, like and subscribe if you want to, and bye bye.